Arcane League of Legends is an animated series released on Netflix, and as season 2's just finished, I thought I'd give my thoughts and opinions on if Arcane's worth your time. So let's get into it. Arcane is hands down one of the best shows I've ever watched. Based on the League of Legends game, this series is somewhere else entirely. From the first episode, you're drawn into the world and its story, and trust me, after the third episode, you'll be hooked. Honestly, this series is on point, and I'll tell you why. First off, what I love about the show is it's not just your typical good vs evil nonsense. Nah, it's way more layered than that. There's no black and white here, it's all just morally grey. And Arcane at its heart is about family, loyalty, ambition, and what happens when things inevitably fuck up. The show doesn't shy away from tough and difficult moments either. The choices the characters make and the consequences of their actions hit you like a ton of bricks. Every scene in Arcane matters. Every line of dialogue pushes the story forward, and there's no wasting time with filler. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, it throws in twists that'll leave you absolutely gobsmacked. Now, one of the things that I love is how everything just flows together. The story throughout season 1 is told in 3 acts, each one building on the last in a super satisfying way. You can see chain reactions unfold with every action and choice made having unforeseen consequences that not only changes and shapes the characters, but also pushes their stories forward in ways that you'd never expect. As for the world itself, the story takes place in 2 cities, Piltover and Zorn. Piltover's a posh, shining utopia full of wealth and innovation, while Zorn is a dark and grim undercity, full of danger, disease and death, yet surprisingly, a lot of heart. Now, I love how these cities proper mirror today's society. Piltover's like the upper class, the people who've got more money than they know what to do with. Think your Elon Musk, those sorts, who are all about tech, innovation and making fortunes, deciding on what they think's best for society, whilst having no clue what life's like for the working class people, actually doing the graft. They live their lives not seeing how their actions impact the ones at the bottom. For them, it's all about status and wealth. Now Zorn, that's your working class through and through. I'd say this city is akin to British council estates, rough as fuck, but down to earth. The people aren't bad, they're just doing what they can to get by. They've been left behind by the system, whilst the posh lot in Piltover look down on them from their ivory towers. It's a place where the hustle's real and everyone's grinding to make something of themselves, even if the odds are stacked against them. The folks in Zorn are living in the trenches, working hard but getting next to nothing in return, and they're sick of it. They're fed up. And the tension between them and Piltover can be felt in every scene. It's that classic divide that we see in the real world between the rich who don't understand and the working class who have to fight for every bit of scrap they can get. And so the world isn't just a typical backdrop, it's actually a part of the story. And this is where the characters come in. They feel like real people with real lives. They have dreams and fears, strengths and weaknesses. Their morals are constantly tested, and they have to face the consequences of their actions. Even the characters you don't like at first end up surprising you, and that's the beauty of this show. The relationships are what really get you invested. Whether it's siblings, mates or rivals, every connection feels real and meaningful. It's not just the main cast either, this goes for the side characters too. Every character feels like a real person, and all of this, everything I've just talked about, is enhanced by the animation. Calling it animation doesn't do the visuals justice. This is animated art. Like, you know, you can sometimes just look at a painting and it grabs your attention? That's exactly what this does. Every frame feels like it's been carefully crafted, like an artist spent hours perfecting it. Honestly, you can pause the show and take a screenshot of any scene, print it out, frame it, and it'll look as good as a piece of art. That's how good it is. You can tell the animators took the time with every little detail, from the smallest flicker in a character's eyes to how the clothes move when they walk. The whole show has this unique art style, a mix of 3D and hand-painted vibes, and it just looks stunning. You can really see the level of effort and detail that animators put into every scene, and it just gives this show this beautiful texture that just pulls you in. As for the action sequences, that's where the animation truly shines. Every fight scene feels like it's been choreographed to perfection. Honestly, the way the characters move, it just feels fluid and smooth, yet every hit has weight to it, and the fight scenes and action sequences aren't just there for the fuck of it either. They actually impact the story, with real consequences and repercussions for the characters, both directly and indirectly involved. Then on top of all that awesomeness, the animation works hand in hand with the music and syncs up perfectly with the soundboard. It's like the movements throughout the fights are set to the rhythm of the music, and you've got this intense beat building in the background. And as the fight picks up, the animation and music speeds up and gets more dynamic, making it all feel just epic as fuck. It's like a perfect storm. every frame, every sound, it all amplifies the action. When the music swells, you can feel it in the animation. Like the characters' movements become more dramatic, the environments seem to shift with the music, and everything just feels grander. The intensity of the action gets heightened by the sounds, and the animation just makes it all come together, pulling you into the story, giving you an awesome experience. It's like the whole thing's alive, working together to make each scene as powerful as possible. And that's just season 1.
Never a dull moment.
After a 3-year wait, Season 2 didn't just meet my expectations, it exceeded them. They took everything that made Season 1 great and dialed it up to 11. The stakes are higher, the emotions run deeper, and the action's even more intense. Due to the aftermath of Season 1's finale, the tensions between Piltover and Zorn are at a boiling point. The writing in Season 2 is still as sharp as ever, with every line of dialogue packing a punch. There's no fluff, no messing about, just pure storytelling. And the moral greys? They've doubled down on that. You can see both sides of every argument, and it's hard to pick a side when everyone's got something to lose. And some of the twists in the story? Mate. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It's like every time you think you've got a grip of what's going on, it throws a curveball. And honestly, Season 2 plays with your emotions like a yo-yo, especially with the characters. Season 2 doesn't just revisit the ones you already know, it pushes on further. You see new sides to people as relationships change, and just when you think you've got someone figured out, you're hit with another twist. Even the side characters get their moments to shine. Nobody feels like they've just been thrown into the story for the sake of it. Now, Season 2 is a conclusion to this story and its characters, and although I think we'll see more stories and new characters in future shows, I think Season 2 did a great job finishing the story. However, I do feel Season 2 was a bit rushed. I think it definitely would have benefited from a third season. First off, the pacing felt at times like they've tried to cram a bit too much into the episodes. Everything's moving at 100 miles an hour, and whilst it keeps Season 2 exciting, it also means some of the story beats don't get the time they deserve. Now, you've got these big moments happening left, right and centre, but they don't always have the weight they should do. Compared to Season 1, it just feels like they've rushed to tie everything up, suffocating the story a bit instead of letting it breathe. A third season definitely could have given these moments space to land properly. And then there's also some of the character development towards the end of Season 2. Some of the characters, Melisara for instance, feel like they've been fast-tracked. I mean, she's interesting and all, but by the end she's gone from being this proper layered character to something that's a bit too perfect, if you know what I mean. She's got all these skills, all this power, and it's like, alright love, calm down. It's a bit too much, too fast. She's pulling off feats that feel unrealistic, even in a world with magic and crazy tech, and it makes her feel a little bit overpowered. A bit of a Murray Sue, if I'm being honest. It's a shame, because earlier in the series she had proper depth and development, but by the end it feels like they've sacrificed that for the sake of plot, convenience and saving time. And again, this ties back to the pacing. If they'd stretched things out into a third season, they could have developed her powers and abilities properly. As it stands, her arc just felt rushed. It's hard to connect with her in the same way that you do with other characters who've actually had time to develop naturally.
Here I am, your big fat hero.
Now don't get me wrong, the show's still amazing, but these rushed elements stop the story from being great. With a bit more time to flesh things out, it could have been a proper masterpiece like Attack on Titan. As for the animation in Season 2, honestly, it's just as stunning. They've upped the game as every frame looks like it's been painted by a master artist. The colours, the lighting, the way the characters move, it's all just flawless. And it's got that same hand-painted vibe as the first season, but now there's even more detail, as well as a variety of different art styles used throughout the season. And honestly, I feel I don't need to say much about the action or music, just trust me, it's on point. So, is Arcane worth your time? Fucking yes. Yes it is. I don't care if you don't like animated shows, this is animated art. If you've appreciated art in any form throughout your life, then you're gonna like this show. I don't want to hear no, oh but the game's shit so I refuse to watch it bullshit. I don't care. I've never played the game, so I don't want to hear that shit. Trust me when I say this, you're missing out by not watching this show. Just give it a watch and thank me later, because believe me, by the time you've finished that third episode of Season 1, you'll be all in. Until next time peeps, stay frosty.